What's up, guys? I want to make a quick video today to talk about iPhone 6 in general and the controversy or um, comments that have been made about the phone itself. But basically, what's happening is that I've seen that Android users are actually attacking the iPhone 6 when honestly they're saying that iPhone 6 is copying the Android phones and all that. Um, First off, I just want to start this video off saying, why are you guys saying that? Whenever there's a new Samsung device released, you guys don't see Apple or iOS fans going and slandering Android devices. I mean, like, that's stupid. And basically, why do you guys have a problem with the iPhone 6? I mean, it's a great phone. Sure, when you look at it on a piece of paper, spec-wise, the specs are horrible, but compared to iOS and Android, iOS devices are basically made to be adapted together and they are designed for each other. As where with Android devices, the problem is the software is designed by Google, and that these phone manufacturers can't engineer the chips and everything they want by themselves because they get them from third parties like Snapdragon. Snapdragon, you will find most Snapdragon processors in these Android devices, such as like the HTC One, the OnePlus One, Galaxy S5. All these phones, they run Snapdragon processors. As to where, like, I'm going back to iOS devices have an in-house A8 processor or A6 or A7, and so Apple engineers these to work together with iOS to get the most power out of these processors and devices because they're optimized for it. As to where, like I said, Android devices can't do that because it's fragmentation. And one of the problems is, or you guys may see that all these iOS devices can be updated very easily because of the way Apple has their process. But as to where, like with Google, they can go ahead and push it out as much as they want, but it takes time for the carriers and the devices, the manufacturers, to actually get these updates, process them, make them specifically for like to alter the firmware to work with their devices. As to where like devices coming straight from Google, like the Nexus 5 or something, they get the devices. they get the updates as soon as possible. As soon as Google pushes them out, they get them because Google makes the Nexus 5. Their service, but what gets me the most is when people say that they're using like a Galaxy S5 and they're saying, "Oh, this is true Android right here." That's not true Android. True Android is a Google Play Edition phone, which is a phone coming straight from Google that has Google Play, or Android, which is the most current version of Android is 4.4 KitKat. As to where you go to some devices, they're not even running KitKat; they're running older firmwares, outdated ones, and here they're saying that's the true Android experience. No, the true Android experience is the most current one, which is Android 4.4 KitKat. Now, basically, if you guys want a true Android experience, like I said, referencing back to Google, I say go pick up a Nexus 5. I have my brother's box right here. This is because he has a Nexus 5. I've used it for a couple days because he let me use it, but that's the true Android experience. And then you don't get that with the Galaxy S5 because Samsung, they put their bloatware on top of the firmware. They put their own version of a software on top of it. It craps up the whole Android experience. Same with other phones, like they put on their bloatware where they're saying, "Oh, hey, use our apps, don't use theirs. Ours is better because they're made from this phone." No, they're not. So if you want the true Android experience, pick up a Nexus 5. Nexus 5 is a pretty good device. Preferably I would choose the Nexus 5 over my iPhone 5C. There's no doubt about that. I would, but in the end, it all comes down to preference. If you may prefer that, or you may prefer like an iPhone or Android. But one thing you keep in consideration when you talk about this is be careful. Don't say that you have a true Android experience when you got a device from Samsung, because that's not a true Android. That's not a true Android experience. It's a crapped up Android experience. So yeah, I just want to put my opinion out there because that's really been getting me to these past couple or these days is like I said, Android devices slandering Apple. Come on, just grow up. And then another thing is they're actually saying that they copied them with a bigger screen. But look, when the iPhone 5s release was last year. Last year they introduced a fingerprint sensor. A couple of months later, Galaxy S5, they put in a fingerprint sensor. But when they actually put in theirs, they rushed into it, so they had to find a different way to find around because Apple had it patented, where you just press your thumb, as to where Samsung devices you have to swipe your thumb down. But when they do this, they in turn kind of screw themselves over because I've used it a couple times and it hardly works half the time. You have to keep on sliding your thumb. And the Galaxy S5 is a pretty big device, so you'd have to use two hands and just hold it and go down. It's a pain in the ass. But again, that's just my opinion. And another thing, when Apple announced the iPhone 2G back in 2007, Samsung probably wasn't even thinking about it. Samsung went ahead and they jumped right in, jumped in the game, and started competing with Apple. So it all comes down to where Android copies Apple, Apple copies Android. They settle this themselves. I don't think it's for us users to actually settle it because they go ahead and settle it in court. I know a while back that Apple and Samsung were in court together about copyright infringements. I mean, not copyright, but patent notices and stuff like that. They're violating some patents on the screen and stuff like that. So it goes back and forth. I mean, Samsung sues Apple, Samsung sues Apple, and then Apple sues Samsung. It goes back and forth, vice versa. But yeah, that's it for this video. I just want to go ahead and put my thoughts out there. I mean, yeah, I just felt that that's something I needed to talk about and put out there. I mean, my opinion, because again, but all in all, it comes down to user experience, and then yeah, user experience, what you prefer. It all comes down to that. If you're happy with the device, don't say anything else about another device because you haven't used it. That's another thing. I'm sorry, I keep on getting off track, but if you're saying like, oh my god, this is so much better than another phone, but you haven't used that phone, don't say anything about it. I mean, like, you're stupid. You haven't used it yet. I hated Android for years until I used it. I mean, I had an Android phone for a while. I liked the device. I mean, it was great. It's just that the phone was too slow. I mean, if I ever had the chance, I would switch back to an Android device. But for now, I'm gonna have to stick with the iPhone for a while. I mean, I'm gonna get the iPhone 6, so we'll go ahead and see. But yeah, stay tuned for more video, guys. Like I said, I will bring coverage of the iPhone 6 because I will be picking it up probably next weekend when it does release to the general public. I'll bring you guys an unboxing video, some in-depth tours about the phone itself, and just comparisons like with the iPhone 5S and different other phones. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's it for today. Please like, comment, rate, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, click that like button down below because it sure helps me out a ton. And yeah, peace.
So just hold on, we're going home. So just hold on, we're going home.